New York has a housing deal, and for the real estate community, that is pretty exciting. Katie, tell us what's in the housing deal right now.
Yeah, so there's a lot. There's a replacement 421A program. There's an extension to the expired program involving its construction deadline, extended by 6 years. There is a proposal to lift the city's cap on residential density, and there are changes to the state's individual apartment improvement program, which allows landlords to increase rents on stabilized apartments once they've done certain renovations. There's also a version of good cause in the package.
Yeah, let's start with the 421A replacement. Since 421A expired back in the summer of 2022, the multifamily development pipeline in the city has taken a pretty serious hit. Tell me why that's the case, and then what this new program includes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this the last time the tax break expired as well, but basically, we've seen a major drop-off in filings of new building permits since the expiration in 2022. Developers have basically said that the way that the city's property tax system works, you can't build multifamily in the city without some sort of break. These, for the last 2 years, have been really pushing for some kind of replacement.
So tell me what the new program includes.
Yeah, so the new program changes the affordability levels for the affordable units that are required under the program. Right now, we're looking at affordability levels at 60% area median income, and there's also another track that's 80% of the area median income. We need to see the budget bills before we know what the very specifics are, but that's where conversations are right now. There's also changes to the construction wage requirements in the program. A big point of contention this time around, as well as last time around, was, what construction workers should be paid on certain size projects. Seems that conversations have really landed where the construction unions wanted them to. Wages are going to be a percentage of prevailing wage rates for the different trades. These would apply to certain size projects and in certain geographic areas, but still waiting on details on that.
Yeah, so the industry should, in theory, be happy about getting this new version of 421A in the housing deal, but there's also good cause eviction, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to good cause, what we're talking about is a very different version of that policy than was initially proposed in 2019. And, that was the version that has been talked about the last couple of years. The version in the budget allows tenants to challenge their eviction if it's due to a rent increase of 10% or it's 5% plus inflation, whichever one is less. That's a lot higher than the cap that was originally proposed. There's also a number of carve-outs in this proposal. So new construction is exempt in certain cases. Certain luxury buildings are also exempt. So, I think because we've seen the rent increase threshold change as well as these very specific carve-outs, I think it's a lot more palatable to the real estate industry than the previous version. As for 421A, though, we have heard from some trade groups that they are unhappy with some of the terms and are thinking that it will lead to fewer housing units than the predecessor program.
Yeah, and it does seem like the state is trying to incentivize development, especially residential development, especially some forms of redevelopment with the FAR cap and the IAI program. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah, so with the FAR cap, right now, residential space in the city is capped at, it's 12 times the size of a lot, known as FAR 12. State controls that. What the state is looking to do is lift that cap, allow the city to rezone areas of the city to allow for bigger residential space. That opens the door to a lot more office to resi conversions because a lot of office space is already above that FAR cap. So, if you were to try to convert something today, you could only convert office up to that 12, which just makes an already complicated process even more, probably less attractive, actually. That's a big deal. As for the IAI changes, 2019 rent laws really restricted how much landlords could increase rents after doing these renovations. The changes included in the budget offer landlords a few different options, but we've also heard from landlord groups that they don't think that goes far enough, in terms of kind of recouping their losses at this point. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So all of this right now is a housing deal, not finalized budget. When do you think we'll have a finalized budget? Anything that might change between now and then?
Yeah, I mean, I hope soon. At this point, the governor on Monday announced the parameters of a conceptual agreement, which is merely a handshake deal. it seems like by and large there is a framework for a housing deal that is going to move forward. Some things could change. I've heard from some folks that some aspects of 421A were still being negotiated. So we'll have to see, but hopefully this week.
Well, Katie is going to get into a little bit more detail on the wheeling and dealing going into creating a housing deal on our podcast this week. So be sure you check that out. Thanks for being with us. Katie, thanks for chatting.
Yeah, thanks.